Did 300 Spartans really face 1,000,000 Persians in a battle for the ages? Hollywood's 300 painted a vivid picture of monstrous foes and superhuman feats. While the film captured the spirit of courage and sacrifice, it also dipped heavily into legend. The real story of Thermopylae is less fantastical but no less inspiring. It's a story of human bravery, strategic brilliance, and, the clash of two very different worlds. Let's uncover the truth behind the myth and discover the real heroes of Thermopylae. The year was 480 BC. The world was on the brink of a monumental clash, as two vastly different civilizations prepared to collide. In the east, the mighty Persian Empire loomed, its influence stretching across continents, while in the west, the fiercely independent Greek city-states faced an existential threat. The Persian Empire, vast and powerful, stretched from the sun-baked deserts of Egypt to the lush valleys of India. Its borders encompassed countless peoples, languages and cultures, all united under the rule of a single monarch. The sheer scale of the empire was unmatched, its armies seemingly endless. Its ruler, Xerxes I, was determined to expand his dominion even further. Driven by ambition and a desire to avenge his father's earlier defeat at Marathon, Xerxes gathered a massive force. He sought to conquer Greece and add its proud city-states to his empire, believing their resistance would be crushed beneath the weight of Persian might. The Greeks, despite their internal divisions and frequent rivalries, recognized the gravity of the threat. For the first time, city-states like Athens and Sparta set aside their differences. They forged a fragile alliance, united by the shared goal of defending their homeland, their freedom, and their way of life from foreign domination. They chose to make their stand at a narrow pass called Thermopylae, the Hot Gates, named for the steaming springs that bubbled from the earth nearby. This strategic location was the gateway to southern Greece, a natural bottleneck where numbers would count for less and courage for more. Leonidas, the Spartan king, led a force of around 7,000 Greeks, including his legendary 300 Spartan warriors. He understood that the rugged terrain of Thermopylae would give his smaller army a fighting chance. Here the mountains pressed close and the sea hemmed them in, leaving only a narrow path for the enemy to attack. The narrow pass would force the Persians to attack in smaller numbers, negating their overwhelming numerical advantage. The Greeks could hold the line shoulder to shoulder, making every inch of ground costly for their foes. For 2 days, the Greeks held back the Persian onslaught, inflicting heavy casualties. The clash of bronze and iron echoed through the mountains as wave after wave of Persian soldiers broke against the Greek shield wall. Their superior training, discipline and equipment, bronze armor, sturdy shields and deadly spears, combined with the narrow battlefield, allowed them to repel every attack. The courage and determination of the Greeks at Thermopylae would become legend, inspiring generations to come. The Persian army was indeed vast, but its true size was likely far smaller than the 1,000,000 depicted in legend. Modern estimates suggest a force of several 100,000, still a formidable army for its time. Xerxes, unlike his portrayal in the movie, was not a towering giant adorned in gold. He was a powerful king, accustomed to luxury and honestly, used to getting his way. Historical accounts describe Xerxes as a capable ruler, though prone to fits of rage and frustration. His army, while large, was made up of soldiers from various conquered peoples, not all of them as well trained or equipped as the Greeks. This diversity within the Persian ranks would later prove to be one of their weaknesses. The Spartans were renowned throughout the Greek world for their military prowess. From a young age, Spartan boys underwent rigorous training in the agoge, a system designed to produce disciplined, obedient, and fearless warriors. Their lives were dedicated to warfare and service to the Spartan state. Contrary to the movie's imagery, Spartans did not fight bare-chested. They wore bronze armor, helmets, and carried shields and spears. The iconic red cloaks they wore served a practical purpose: to conceal blood and wounds, maintaining order and preventing panic among the ranks. The Spartans were elite warriors, but they were still human, relying on skill, training, and strategy, rather than superhuman strength. The Battle of Thermopylae was not a scene from a fantasy film. There were no monsters, giants, or war rhinos. The immortals, elite Persian infantrymen, were indeed formidable opponents, but they were not magically resurrected after falling in battle. Their name likely stemmed from the practice of immediately replacing fallen soldiers, maintaining the illusion of an undying force. Ancient warfare was brutal and bloody. Soldiers on both sides fought with swords, spears, bows, and arrows. Victory often hinged on discipline, strategy, and the element of surprise. While individual acts of courage undoubtedly occurred, Thermopylae was ultimately a clash of armies, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. The Greeks, despite their valiant defense and unwavering determination, were eventually betrayed in one of history's most dramatic moments. For days they had held the narrow pass at Thermopylae, defying overwhelming odds and the might of the Persian Empire. A local shepherd, enticed by the promise of reward or perhaps out of fear, revealed a hidden mountain path to the Persians. This secret route allowed a contingent of Persian soldiers to silently outflank the Greek defenders, threatening to encircle them and seal their fate. Realizing the dire situation, King Leonidas made a fateful decision. He dismissed the majority of his allied troops, urging them to retreat and regroup so they could continue the fight for Greece's freedom. It was a selfless act, prioritizing the survival of the Greek cause over his own life and those of his men. Leonidas remained behind with his legendary 300 Spartans, joined by brave Thespian and Theban warriors. Together they prepared for a final desperate stand, fully aware that they faced certain death. In the shadow of the mountains, these warriors fought with unmatched courage and ferocity. Their resistance, though doomed, bought precious time for the rest of Greece to organize its defenses and rally against the Persian threat. Though ultimately overwhelmed and defeated, the Spartans and their allies inflicted devastating losses on the Persians. Their sacrifice was not in vain. It sent shockwaves through the invading army and demonstrated the cost of conquest. More importantly, the stand at Thermopylae became a powerful rallying cry for all Greeks. News of their bravery spread quickly, inspiring city-states to unite in the face of a common enemy and fueling a newfound sense of national identity. The battle proved that the Persians, despite their vast numbers and resources, were not invincible. The courage of a few could stand against the might of an empire and change the course of history. The bravery and sacrifice displayed at Thermopylae echoed through the centuries, inspiring countless generations to fight for freedom, justice, and the values they hold dear. The legacy of Thermopylae endures, reminding us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, courage and unity can shape the destiny of nations. The Battle of Thermopylae, stripped of its Hollywood embellishments, remains a powerful reminder of the human capacity for courage and self-sacrifice. Beyond the legends and cinematic retellings, the true story is one of ordinary people rising to extraordinary heights when faced with impossible choices. The narrow pass at Thermopylae became a stage where bravery, loyalty, and the willingness to stand together were tested to their limits. It is not just a tale of warriors, but of a community united by a shared sense of duty and hope for a better future. It teaches us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, standing up for what is right is never in vain. The Spartans and their allies knew the risks, yet they chose to defend their homeland, their families, and their ideals. Their sacrifice was not just for themselves, but for generations to come, showing that courage can inspire hope even in the darkest moments. The Spartans and their Greek allies fought for their freedom, their homeland, and their way of life. They stood shoulder to shoulder, not just as soldiers but as citizens defending the values that define them. Their unity in the face of adversity became a symbol of resistance against oppression, and their actions echoed far beyond the battlefield. Their story resonates with people across cultures and time periods, reminding us that the fight for liberty is timeless. Visitors from around the world come to Thermopylae, drawn by the enduring message of hope and resilience. The lessons learned here are not confined to history books. They live on in the hearts of those who value freedom and justice. Though centuries have passed, the courage displayed at Thermopylae continues to inspire. The monuments and memorials stand as silent witnesses to the bravery of those who fought, inviting each new generation to reflect on what it means to defend what is right, even when the outcome is uncertain. It reminds us that even in defeat, acts of bravery can have a profound impact on the course of history. The legacy of Thermopylae is not measured by victory, but by the enduring spirit of those who refuse to surrender their principles. Their story encourages us to find strength in unity and to stand firm in the face of adversity. The next time you hear the story of the 300 Spartans, remember the real heroes, the Greeks who stood together against tyranny, whose courage echoed through the ages. Their sacrifice reminds us that the fight for freedom is a fight worth fighting, and that the values of courage, unity, and hope are as vital today as they were centuries ago.